All right, hey YouTube, even curiouser, and I'm here today with a little bit of a story time and a little bit of something that's really important that we should all be doing every time we get a new product. So let's start with the story. As most of you know, I have some allergies. I have wheat allergy, fish, shellfish, bee, mold, a bunch of different pollens, cats, dogs, horses. Basically, if you can be allergic to it, I probably am. But I thought I was pretty good at managing it. You know, I'd only used an EpiPen a couple of times in the whole 7 or 8 years I've been diagnosed with anaphylactic allergies, and I was like, I'm good. I'm really careful. And then I realized I had gotten complacent. So over the summer, I got a sample of a face mask. I was super excited. It was from an organic, plant-based brand. You know, I was really excited to try it. I'd seen good reviews of the product. It was part of the superfood campaign that Sephora had last summer. And I had found a purple face mask that I adored. And I was like, all right, I'll try this one too. I mean, success with one means maybe there will be success with more. Got myself all set up for a nice, relaxing afternoon while I waited to fill some time before going to dinner with a friend. I slathered my face with this face mask. And immediately it started to warm up. And I was like, oh, I don't like this. And I looked at the package and it said warming mask, and I was like, okay. And I took a deep breath and it just kept getting hotter and hotter. And I looked over at the mirror and my face was it was growing. And it was starting to itch and burn. And I did one of these where I like bit my lips together and I licked my lips. Tasted the honey, which I knew was in there, and it's still getting worse. It's still getting worse, and my tongue starts to go a little numb. I'm like, oh shit. I grab a washcloth with cool water and I wipe it off my face as fast as I can. I grab a glass of water, I rinse, I spit, and then I drink a full glass of water with Benadryl. My face is still getting bigger. It's still burning. It's still hot. I start Googling and I realize, I'm like, there's no gluten in this mask. What is it? I'm like, and then I see an ingredient I don't recognize. It's royal jelly. And I'm like, what is that? Is it, I thought maybe it was from jellyfish. No, Mary Fran, it was not from jellyfish. It's from bees. Specifically, it is milked from queen bees. Yeah, I'm allergic to bees. And I started having that like anxiety that starts to come on from an anaphylactic reaction. My stomach started churning. All classic signs of anaphylaxis. So, well, maybe not so classic. Those are actually slightly less common signs, but my tongue was swelling. I was starting to have trouble breathing. My face was a giant welt. Grabbed an EpiPen, called an Uber, took an Uber to the emergency room where I was treated for an anaphylactic reaction, given some steroids and IV fluids, and some more antihistamines while they watched me and made sure that as the epinephrine wore off, I didn't have a rebound reaction. I was harassed a bit by a resident who both gave me a hard time for not reading the ingredients list on the face mask, waiting too long to use my EpiPen, and then telling me that I probably overreacted. Which, according to my allergist, anytime I come into any sort of contact with one of my allergens, I am supposed to use the EpiPen first, go to the emergency room, and ask questions later. You should always go with whatever your allergist tells you, not what some punk resident thinks in the emergency room. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. I survived. It was a very stressful evening. And I learned a really hard lesson that night, and that's that I need to freaking patch test. I've had sensitive skin my whole life. I have allergies. I should have known. Like, come on, Mary Fran, patch test. But then I realized that so many other people don't do that. So I thought I would kind of give you guys a rundown of how I patch test a product. I'm going to use a brightly colored eyeshadow just to show you what I do to patch test a product. And hopefully Natasha Denona won't mind that I'm using one of hers. So I'm going to use this red eyeshadow. And what I do is on the inside of my arm right here is I just kind of give myself, you know, just a nice little spot of product. And I will leave that on for 24 hours. If it's something sticky, I'll wipe it off after a little bit. I'll leave it alone for as long as I can and then wipe it off with a cool rag. But I won't rub and I won't take any soap to it or anything because it needs to sit and develop. So if you have a real, like a severe allergy to it, you'll know pretty quickly. I usually start itching, burning, whatever in a couple of minutes. But I have had stuff that I'm sensitive to take a while for the reaction to show up. So while the patch test is going on, don't hit that area with any hand soap, body wash, body lotion. Just kind of leave that product alone and intact right there, unless you start having a reaction. If you notice a reaction, wipe it off. If it's a hives or something, if it's really bad, contact your doctor, or do what your allergist would tell you. You know, mine would suggest if I'm just getting a rash to maybe take a Benadryl or put some hydrocortisone on it. But then to also call and ask her. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. Follow your allergist's recommendations if you have a reaction. If it's just kind of sore, painful, itchy, wash it. Again, I do some basic first aid to kind of calm it down. But then I would package that product right back up, march right back to the store and return it. Now, as someone with sensitive skin, I've had to return a lot of products to the store and it always makes me feel a little uncomfortable, which is why I've actually started doing much more in-store shopping at Sephora, where I can get a sample every time I want to try something. So anything that's not a powder base or hard, so if it's pourable or it's creamy that they can like scrape out of a pan, they'll make you a sample of it so that you can always try a product at home and do that patch test at home. Or you can always go to the store and use a tester and do a little patch on your skin and wait to see if you have a reaction before you buy the product. But if you don't, always buy from somewhere that has a good return policy so that you can return something, particularly if you're spending a lot of money on like high-end skincare, high-end makeup. You're gonna wanna be able to return that product to the store. And then, yeah, after the 24 hours, you know, you just go back to making sure that it's all cleaned up. Go back to life as normal. If you didn't have a reaction, go for it. Put that eyeshadow on, use that new face mask, and enjoy it. And know that you did not end up with you did the smart thing. And even if you didn't have a reaction, you didn't risk it. Which for me at this point, I made that $2,000 mistake once. I'm never going to make it again. And I hope you can learn from my mistake and, you know, be reminded. And it's not something that just people with allergies should do. Anybody with skin should always patch test a cosmetic or skincare product when they buy it. This goes for dudes too who don't really love makeup, who don't wear a lot, but any new shaving cream, any new body wash, always patch test it because you never know when an allergy is going to form. You never know if some random fragrance is going to cause a reaction. You just never know. Anyways, I know that was a super fast kind of quick tip little video, but I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a big ol' thumbs up down below. And while you're at it, make sure you've hit that subscribe button so that you are notified every time I post a new video. And I will see you guys around here soon. All right, bye.